I don't know why my video it's happened last week too. It has a camera.
That you have to turn it on somewhere in Zoom, or that's just doesn't work.
Well, there's a button somewhere. It says it's turned off. Like, this happened last week, and I couldn't figure out where the heck this button could be for the camera. It's like, what the hell is it? That's the brightness. And it's not like the settings say it's on when I look.
So open the camera app and see what you get.
She's got
On
some
the
blockages.
computer
outside of
itself.
her That we can't clear because it's small, but
Uh,
request funds to dollars.
video. No.
Stress level and pressure so high.
USB video device.
No more funerals and drama.
We don't have USB in that country, isn't it?
Horrible.
No.
What's your,
No.
wait a minute. What's your, right,
Just has that. But this is the camera right here.
right.
So
This needs help.
E video.
Just get on. Yeah, but go on to the- I'm not good at saying, oh, no. Which is not lucky. It's wrong.
That's wrong. Look at me, right.
I think that might be the old
I put it down.
camera. Yes, for cameras reporting that it's blocked or turned off by a switch or button on your device. Which so
Recording in progress.
I like that. It's when you leave the volume on.
Yeah. Here.
Here. Just go ahead. The first thing we'll do is approve the meeting minutes from March 12th.
Yes, yes.
Yes. Well, and the big announcement is Bambi's last meeting.
Congratulations. Wow, he's so.
Yeah, last meeting for people, you know, when she was resigning. Yeah. Well, we should, wow.
I don't like babies. You don't know what to know. I know how to know. That's not the baby.
So we have a whole resolution. So. Why not? Top of the meeting.
Well, yeah.
Right, I know. You one nice day and nobody.
What? Yeah, what?
What? Oh, okay. I know. Yeah. Yeah, so we'll read things off line by line down.
Not randomly.
Yeah, and randomly I don't think would work. We'll make it more fun. Yeah, so I'll just start off with I'm gonna do the first two, the title and first.
Okay.
So it's a resolution recognizing Bambi Avery for her service to the town of Dryden. When Bambi Avery was elected in 1997 and served as town clerk for the town of Dryden since 1998. And so you have to be one.
All right. Whereas Bambi Avery served as deputy town clerk prior to her election as town clerk and has mentored a long succession of dedicated and capable deputy clerks. And whereas Bambi recently served as the president of the New York State Town Clerks Association, where she used her experience and expertise to contribute to the education and development of the next generation of town clerks across New York State. And whereas Bambi Avery's dedication to serving residents' needs led her to offering services to Dryden that were not available to other towns. And
whereas Bambi Avery's dedication to serving resident needs led to her offering services to Dryden that were not available in other towns. And
Spring, do you want to go back and read number 4? Did I miss one?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Whereas Bambi Avery's commitment to excel in her field led her to earn a Master Municipal Clerk designation from the International Institute of Municipal Clerks in 2015. And
back to the top.
Whereas Bambi Avery has volunteered within the community, taking leadership roles in numerous local organizations in addition to her service with the town of Dryden.
whereas Bambi Avery has shared her knowledge, provided assistance, and guided residents, employees, and board members to solve problems that face the town. And whereas Bambi Avery has shown throughout her career that elected officials must faithfully and respectfully serve all residents. Therefore, be it resolved that the town board and the town of Dryden offer their deepest appreciation to Bambi Avery for her dedication and years of service to the town of Dryden and its residents, and wishes her the best in her retirement.
All right, we're gonna. Well, one thing.
Let's get back this round. A second.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Yeah.
Also, other announcements, when her party is.
Yeah, it'll be April 28th. It's a Tuesday from 4 to 6.
April 28th.
April 28th.
Right in here, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Well, I mean, so could be other places in town. I'm sure. But I mean, we once joked about bringing a pipeline from Hampshire. One time. So, well, that would have been. I don't think we can get a grant for that one. We're not in Wisconsin. I'm not. You know, I'm sure they would.
We got to beer from.
Or you can order it. You can get DoorDash. You can DoorDash. Yeah. Through conduit. Yeah. Again, we're in Wisconsin. That already would have been done.
I'm in favor.
So, all right. Just jump right to Ray.
For the monthly updates on the web, the only thing I'll call out this month is that remember we had the CDBG grant in December, the Fairchild Road Mobile Home Community Sewer Line extension. Now the county has gone after a county grant, infrastructure grant for $1 million to extend the water. So they have applied to Albany for this, and if they get that awarded, we're going to both on the same track for construction in 2027.
The county's grant, so here are other places as well.
No, it would be specific to that, extending the water to that part.
County applying for grants. That's great.
Yeah.
Was that your idea?
It's a lot of people talking.
Encouraged it?
What the health department did it?
Yeah, they were definitely spearheading a lot of that. Yeah. And from the local community side.
Yeah, good.
Awesome.
So between what we have and that, project.
Yeah, the water should be less expensive than the sewer. Yeah. So it'll still be quite a balance for the owners to pay.
Yeah.
This is what they're.
Good. Well, once all built, it's a good ending for that. Okay, I guess we could wait for Darius. You have questions on. We'll wait for Dave for all the fiber stuff. I don't know, Dan Wakeman's coming in with.
Send an email with an update. Just a bit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
There was something coming for a while. But
yeah, I've been doing stuff in motions.
also, I'm losing my.
No, I mean, if he comes in, we just. Or,
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
You guys say to
Well, we keep getting more favorite.
yeah. That's good.
That's Kevin.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move to the next, it was an application for, DRYC. I know they've looked at it. And this would be to appoint Jennifer Davis with DRYC with a term to end December 31st, 2022. That,
For a second.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
yes. Yeah, we resolution.
We do it again.
You do a second.
We had some glitches.
Yeah, because that's my fault.
You made it in one place.
Sorry.
Well, we didn't practice.
It would have been better if we were upside down.
First one is
Actually, upside down and right.
Town clerk,
I'm gonna have fun with this one. Between that and the echo. It's good.
all this time. It's a good word.
Yep. And we got another few months of this year, so. Better the shenanigans.
I think we should give him a hat that looks really hard.
That's getting too complex. All right, so the next thing we need to go back to this discussion about the more. I brought up last week. I sent another revision around and add the major subdivision. Which my draft didn't have it like that. Yeah, just refer to the definition that's already. For that. And then if we're gonna close it, so I guess conservation board.
So the conservation board met on Monday. And had a lengthy discussion about the subdivision proposal and wrote a letter with their comments to the zoning board. So zoning can take a look at it. There was a significant amount of feedback. So some of the concerns that were there were the concern about Isle School Road, that there's going to be more pressure for that to be paved rather than to remain a seasonal road, and that could cause more runoff issues. That's not necessarily something that will happen with the subdivision, so it's something in the town's control whether or not that could be dealt with. There was feedback regarding lot 6 and 7. Not so much with the lots themselves, but that we as the town board and the town will not enforce the conservation district buffer zones that we, and there was a lot of concern about just conservation subdivisions in general, because if we don't have teeth to enforce them, that there's concern that the zoning doesn't matter. There was interest in working with the contractor to ensure that language for the conservation district does not allow for logging. There was a lot of discussion around, after this happens, if the Trillium Woods gets turned over to the town as the current contractor proposed, that they be fenced in order to keep the deer from eating all of the flowers and other destruction, because there may be less hunting with building houses in the area. The conservation board earlier had sent a letter supporting the moratorium. At the same time, there seemed to be not a lot of concern, not a huge amount of concerns as far as the proposal from the contractor, that the majority of the farmable land maintains farmable, and other things that came up were things that would be dealt with and addressed during like engineering process, and making sure that houses weren't a place that would get too wet, and making sure that road access was there. So there was a lot of really good feedback, and they submitted a letter on that point. So that's a summary. Other people were there too in the audience if they want to win.
Was there? I know I spoke in like the last meeting about having to study more, and getting some maps, so we all would be the same thing. The soil maps, like the rural residential, rural ag, different stuff could be developed. Housing areas that are close to sewer. I just feel like until you have that information for us, we're kind of shooting in the dark.
This conversation really was focused on specifically on this one property to provide feedback to the zoning. This, there was really no discussion specific to the moratorium. They had sent a support note of that.
I say, I think for the. I understand the concerns about developing this property. I think there are a number of ways to be more thorough besides putting moratorium in place. That's because I think we discount a lot of their opportunities in town when we use moratorium. We should only use those when there's something new that people might be able to come along and confront our zoning, like data centers. I think that was a little bit of use.
I'm in agreement.
So I would like to see the information that I mentioned Brad Student is working on. He's already started the project. He met with where I was going to be Brad.
We met, yep.
You met with him this morning. He's a very capable researcher, somebody who can present us with some maps that could elevate this discussion, I think, a bit more.
Can you ask what that is?
So, when you just came in, soil maps, development maps, like our zoning, where we would allow multifamily housing, out where housing is connected to sewer and water, where housing is close to nodes that could be affected by this moratorium. Let me just finish, where housing might be close to nodes that might have soil that we want to protect, but is also very developable. So we don't want to miss an opportunity to have affordable housing in this town. We also want to preserve open space. That's our mission. That's our vision and our competence.
Maps at some level.
No, not redoing anything, just getting us maps that we can all look at together.
Well, that's it. I mean, he's developing maps.
Right. Aggregating maps, and maybe that's a better way to put it. Maybe
It would be interesting because some of your maps have things that are incorrect in them. I long wish that we would go through those maps and correct what's incorrect on them.
Fair point. It's my understanding that the soil maps are done by New York State, not local.
Yeah, and I've seen that as the agencies.
Yeah, and the agency. They're not a matter of correcting those or not. UNA maps, UNA maps.
That's right, I understand. Some of these things are not. I'm just saying, if you're doing maps, it would be really nice to actually get like the base town map to be cool. And then, yeah. It's minor, it's not related to that particular thing.
So I don't know where the rest of the board goes on this, but I would like to see the results of this work, and I think he's planning to get it done in the next couple of months.
Is there a rush to go ahead with this moratorium?
That's up to the planning board, and once it clears the planning board, it comes to us. Right? Oh, of course, right, but I'm talking about the conservation subdivision.
That'll be a 3-month process at least through the planning board.
Okay, it doesn't have the board. So.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
and that's the kind of problem we're in, is that we don't, over the existing zoning, we don't see this
under the existing, but by then we might want to new them. First,
having. You know, like, when is that thing?
It's a complete application, so the GML 239 would be the next critical piece. They could have that back for planning board meeting, but the 30 days is non. So we might have to go back to the benefit of the 239 meetings.
Yeah, but that is why the conservation board had the meeting on Monday, was so they can provide feedback on the proposal before next Thursday's meeting.
Why is this?
what meeting next?
Sorry, the next town planning board meeting.
Town plan.
Is the county gonna have that review?
We don't know. They have 30 days, which is submitted on the 27th. So if they take the full, allow 30 days, it would be beyond this month's planning board meeting.
How long is it gonna take for the student to go? To us.
Probably 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, so pretty,
I think his class is science need to be turned in, got movement. Including what class it is this semester. That we mentioned you got.
yeah, and it's gonna act quickly. We have some follow-up questions by next week.
I'm not, for this assignment, just to be clear, I'm not grading it. He takes a class with me, but this project's for another class in GIS mapping. It's not preparing for me, there's no conflict.
Sounds like it'll be a good tool for the zoning, you know, for the zoning.
That is the 239 before this Thursday.
They would be able to,
They could approve it.
they would be able to act on the sketch plan. Now, with our major subdivision law, once sketch plan approved, and it allows the applicant to submit a preliminary plan. That is reviewed with a public hearing scheduled for the following month. And if that gets approved, it goes to a second public hearing and following. That's why it's a minimum 3 month process.
But next week would not be a final. I'll give it, if the 239 comes over next week.
Or it just be the sketch plan.
What's involved in the other two?
It's just a more formal plan each time. So sketch comments are then incorporated and they come back with a preliminary plan, which is approved by a surveyor. So it's much more detailed presentation. But the general concept does get approved at the sketch plan conference.
So what point, because I know it's been discussed on and off, at what point does the approval include discussion of like the sections that are leading to
Yeah, at present, that's a 10-year dedication on that sketch.
But when does that actually get approved? If the planning board says, well, 10 is not.
Then they would generate a preliminary plan based on that. So they can come back with a fully things. The actual transmittal of either plan document or conservation words after the final plan.
I'm bad, I exactly remember this. Is it? I feel it's from.
No. Yeah, I mean. So we're- Hmm?
We can't hear what you're saying.
He thought, said he thought that we had the final approval on this as a town board, but we don't. It's all planning board.
Planning.
You mean the development?
Well, that's the thing, yeah. Yeah, we don't have any. That's how it's set up. Right now.
So that leaves us with just.
So we can either gamble and basically see if the county doesn't put the 239 in. I mean, it sounds like there's not a final approval for at least 3 months, but Sketch plan, how much is that considered? Like if we were to do it, we were to say, okay, we'll wait a little bit, it's aggregation of maps.
Each month of the process is a little bit more investment by the applicant. So then,
Yeah. But it's not a final approval until after this. Because they can still be denied at the public hearing too.
like, there's decisions, there's votes by the planning board on both sketch, preliminary plat, and final plat, so there's 3 votes that have to be affirmative.
And that's bumped a month if they don't have the 230.
Yep.
I mean, I think the furthest we can wait on this probably is that first meeting in May. Yeah, for us to do a moratorium, if you guys really want to see these maps from the student first before doing.
Well, almost done.
That's a May 9th thing. No, it'll be May 14th. Yeah,
And it's May 14th.
May 14th is our first bill. Yeah, they'll have to be. It's the, that's more.
Now, these maps that you know, that these students doing research, they have any weight on that particular development that we were speaking about, the team?
Not so much. I think what we wanna, what I think would be helpful is to know what areas that are developable that would be taken off the list if we put a sweeping moratorium. If there's a spot along Route 366, that's rural residential that could be developed for multifamily housing. We should know about.
I tend to agree.
If it's on near sewer or water, we don't want to miss that opportunity. That's something I.
Well, that would be.
But trying to rush it through because of this proposal, that's not affecting him. I really struggle with putting on around these project again, where the step plans really don't reduce most of the farmable land. Protects the wetlands and protects the units. I'm just struggling. Why we leave it out question.
I think we have everything we need by May 14th to decide if we're going to do it. So, because if we can carve things out further, we need to. Because it's not just the issue isn't just with this parcel, it's the problem. It's other areas. It's just that now it's just one like every other time we've done one. It's something in one area of the town pops up. And yeah, yeah. So what it is like I'm explaining for the moratorium. Usually we don't just do them in a vacuum. There's always been some potential project or whatever that we catch wind of. Sometimes there's an application, sometimes there's not. And the issue here is one that's been, I know it's been discussed for 10 years plus, which is protecting the prime farmland and these other soils of statewide importance, which for a long time the ag community didn't want to take the step that they're asking the board to think about now, which is doing something in zoning, and now they've come to us asking us to do that. So anyway, so I guess if we're going to get these different aggregation of maps of things we can look at, because if we need to carve out areas that are closer to The utilities, I mean, that makes sense. We'd be able to do that, whatever, if we need to propose something or not, because it's possible that this one, it's possible that there won't be as much urgency on the 14th, but still, there probably will be. But, so I don't have a problem waiting till then. Since they have a 3-step process anyway, before it's considered a final approval. It's just the further along they get, the more the risk the town takes on, but I think if we also have more data, then it supports us better. All right, so let's just table, I guess, till the 14th of May. Let's wait for that addition.
Did anyone come to talk about this tonight? Did you have comments seeing it on our agenda?
I just wanted to hear what was, Spring did a good job. I mean, I came in the end of it, but she was doing a very good job explaining our discussions.
Okay. All right, so in Dave's here, so we can just go back to those.
I just want to be clear, so the conservation board, the conservation feels strongly in support of a moratorium? Or is the message right now?
I would say, no, there wasn't a strong feeling about moratorium.
Conservation Board had previously submitted a letter supporting a moratorium, you know, along with checking other natural things. Specific to this particular property, the Conservation Board overall seemed pretty comfortable with the proposal.
Yeah, we were happy with what we saw. So that, and we had a brief discussion about if there was a moratorium, if it would be like 3 months versus 18 months, just long enough for zoning to try to address some things. And I was explaining that zoning was trying to fast track this, and that I mean, they wouldn't really need the 18 months for zoning to get forward on it.
Or this is part of the phase 1 of the zoning update on the battery.
It got moved up after the battery storage. Then, you know, we focused a lot on battery storage, and we did that in about 3 months, wasn't it? 3 or 4, and I could see we could do a similar thing for this zoning that we're dealing with right now regarding ag lands. I think it's coming like that.
And the crux of it towards the end of the conversation was, regardless of what the zoning is, if the town doesn't enforce it, there was extreme frustration. There was a lot of frustration shared on that.
Yeah, the enforcement of conservation easements, conservation easements. And so, and I was saying, we're also bringing that up in the zoning that's being discussed, is mechanisms for actually enforcing conservation easements, what kind of possibilities there might be, because clearly the town needs something there.
Well, there was discussion about making sure that we have the staff to go out and do checks during construction, you know, very early on, before things get built.
But further is the yearly, you really need to go out every year to every conservation easement and just monitor and see. I mean, that's what the land trust does.
Yeah, that's a fair point. We should bring that up when we're doing our budget.
Yes.
Necessary.
So we discussed that, but that was actually the only concern about the plat, was that there would be conservation easements and would they actually function. And I personally feel that we will in the future have something that is functioning. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, so on that point, if the Wetlands Trust would hold the conservation piece,
they would monitor that.
yeah, they monitor it.
Yes.
So what other conservation easements are we talking? It's the one the Trillium Woods. Around Trillium.
It's the buffer zones.
Yeah.
They don't want somebody going and log all the trees down inside the buffer zones.
Yeah.
That was,
It was a
Yeah.
discussion as to how large the plat had to be to meet state health needs anyway. So they really needed to be 5.1 acres, but they can restrict the housing to a smaller plat, part of that, with the back part being a conservation easement, which we discussed that we could discuss it in the future when they're coming up with what the wording is for that, that we could be party to that discussion as to how that conservation easement was worded. And then we got into the issue of then how would it be enforced? And so, but the plat as it showed, no one objected to.
Those were the feeling for the housing community as well.
and considering we people on the board who literally live in the middle of this construction zone. Like between some of these.
Big concerns with the road. And so I don't know if you've gotten the letter yet that Anne was presumably she forwarded to you. Which I pointed out that Rick is a separately elected official and the town board cannot control what Rick does on the roads really. But they were concerned that they shouldn't pave that. I don't know. They're very concerned about the road on High School Road and what happens on that with higher traffic. And with, of course, the housing development, they're going to have to ensure that the road is capable of having school buses go to the farthest house. So it could well mean that it needs to be paved, and could it be paved properly, and what that would mean for runoff into the wetlands. And so that's where actually the biggest focus of discussion was hard surface from the roads. And it's not the town board that does that.
Who's got the money? We can zero out the meeting budget. And that would really change the ecosystem out there, to have a steady stream of traffic going through that. That's a bird paradise. Yeah, a little sanctuary. Yeah.
And a lot of people don't want to live on a through street. You buy a house at the end of a dead end, sometimes you do that on purpose. So that's a discussion with Rick.
Yeah, and they like dirt roads because people avoid them in general.
Yeah, or they're nice places to. And housing work out the same way.
Yeah, because the name of what's there, what would be built there wouldn't even count as affordable housing.
No, but he said they were okay with. He said that they focusing on the conservation board there.
So this is kind of hold on a little bit. I think May is. Right, there.
Good evening.
I didn't want to come inside. I was inside all day, so it's okay. I wrote something. It's okay, I can read this first and then go to the report. Right. In 2006, I was a candidate for the Dryden Town Board, and I began to attend town board meetings in the spring and summer of that year. In 2007, I was sworn into office to serve on the Dryden Town Board. Later that year, in November, I came to Dryden Town Hall with my fiance to apply for a marriage license. From 2007 to 2011, over the course of 5 years and over 60 town board meetings, I represented Dryden on the town board. In the winter of 2010, I brought my new backyard to see the Dryden Town Hall to get him a dog license. 12 years after I left the Dryden Town Board in 2023, I returned to Dryden to join Dryden Fiber as a marketing consultant. And then later in 2024, joined as Dryden Fiber's first executive director. Through these last 20 years, there's been one constant: the town clerk, Bambi Avery. She was there at the first town board meeting I attended in 2006. She swung me into office in 2007. She was there when I got my marriage license, my dog license. When I came back here, she helped me figure out when I was going to sit in the building as executive director. I moved to the town of Dryden in October of 2004. In New York State. I moved here from Massachusetts. For every day that I lived in New York State, Bambi Avery was in the town clerk of the town of Dryden. And in the last 2 years since I followed Dryden Fiber, I've been able to work with Bambi. I really appreciate the support she's given to the project, to the team, welcoming Matt and Connor to the project, and just providing so much insight and expertise and support. Just knowing where things are and how get things done in a way that no one else I've ever met in Dryden has done. And thank you, Bambi, for your constant support, your eagerness to help, your direct and specific ethical and legal background, understanding what's going on, your guidance, and we'll miss your Dryden Fiber, and I will miss your calm presence. Thank you. Just do it. I sent a report in for the month of March. We'll cover that, and then I've just one authorization request for some material we need to purchase.
Do you want me to give you, or
This works. I can read it off my screen or display it. So go to slide 2. So we're going to good news. We had purchased IP addresses a few months ago. We talked about buying additional IP addresses for the project in order to expand. Every customer has a unique IP address that you can also apply and purchase static IP addresses through us if they need one for their home servers or to connect to other devices. So we made that purchase. We had originally estimated $32 per address. We were able to buy them at auction. We, being Amanda and myself, with the help of Scott Bryan from Integrity, for just $17.50 per address, so 54% less than we had planned on the budget. We now have 5,000 plus addresses, which will take care of our growth, at least for the next 2.5 years, as we grow and expand across Town of Dryden and Caroline. Next, Connor Hands has joined. He jumped right in on April 1st to help out with all of our account management. He's doing outreach, he's doing response, he's going on site to help with MDU management, multiple dwelling units. A couple of days ago on Tuesday, he was in Edna looking at apartment buildings. We're in the basement, we can connect our network to with our installation company. He's the ambassador to these multiple dwelling units, whether it's mobile home parks or other buildings, to help bring those online. It's work that I have been doing for the last 7 months, but with the rapid pace and focus on construction, having him help out with those is a huge boost to the project. He's also really reduced our response time for inbound requests, whether they're green zone or they're in the non-green zone, or if they're renters or tenants, help them through paperwork to get signed up. Big add for the project. He's also helping with our construction outreach. That starts with our construction coming soon. We send out postcards to everyone, ideally before construction hits their street or their neighborhood. We are working through to make that process better and better. But we figure over the next 4 months, we'll send out somewhere around 3,000 postcards across Dryden to let people know we're coming to your neighborhood next. You'll see construction happening. You'll see either underground buried construction, or you'll see aerial work with bucket trucks. So give people a little heads up what we're doing in the neighborhoods. As of April 1st of this month, we have 543 customers. So we added 15 more in the month of March. We actually added 19 customers, but we had a net gain of 15 as 4 people either left town or they moved to a different part of town where they had service. We are continuing to make progress with our MDU work and apartments with our partnership with Clarity Connect. A couple of great meetings with Clarity Connect talking about the process and how we can figure out how to determine how to bring the fiber from the street to 10, 15, 20 apartments inside of a building. It's not as easy as just plugging A into B. You have to figure out how it maps around with the technology we need, how we partner with our engineering firm to make sure there's enough fiber so that way everyone gets their own connection. And finally, in the month of March, I presented to the Tompkins County Council of Governments on March 26th. So it's a pretty full month with a lot of emphasis on the work we did in construction. Any questions?
You did great.
Thanks, Dad. Thanks for the invite and the introduction. Very positive direct feedback from some of the supervisors who were there from the western side of the county. So no one we could serve right away, but it was good to have Dan there and Jason, the town supervisor from Caroline, Mark Whitten was there, Tim Murray, the deputy supervisor in Caroline. So it was good to have the support in those towns at that meeting. Next slide this is the April construction plan as of March 27th, which feels like 100 years ago, even though it was only 3 weeks ago. Sheldon Road, Ryan, Watchers, and all of that underground boring plan on March 27th. Gulfville and McLean, Hoover Road, Bradshaw, all of the aerial work planned as of March 27th. I believe the Gulfville work is all complete, and Bradshaw will be completed on Monday. We did all of it except for one parcel with Strand. The next thing we'll do that one more parcel with Strand, that's the hard wire. And then once that's up, we'll bring in the fiber optic glass cable to last to that Strand. And from the end of Bradshaw, where it's 382, right through, all the way almost to Walker to the last houses, and we'll have fiber there. Now, that's the good news about Bradshaw getting it wired up and having the stranded fiber. We won't connect to the network for probably 3 months, maybe more, because it's a place in the network where it has to cross over a state highway. Virgil Road, State Route 392 requires a New York State permit for us to cross over the road with our mainline connection. So while there is fiber all on Bradshaw to the end of the road, so let's just pull over the road. We're going to make that last connection, which will be really like an hour's worth of work to plug it in and splice it together. It won't happen until we have a permit, which we're expecting to happen sometime in August. That's a pretty consistent story about the project where we are building the network along Bone Plain, Stratton Road, Pruitt Road, Wood Road, Sheldon and Jaswell. However, because of state highway permits, we may not be able to connect all of those directly into the network for a few months after it's all up and running. That's the April. We're also looking at our MSCs, the multi-port devices becoming 2, 4, 8, or 12 ports. So in a given neighborhood, if you can see 4 houses from one utility pole, you put a 4-port device there or a 6-port device, and then we can plug right from there, bring the cables to the individual houses. They were doing a bunch of those MST installs. And they're continuing work on making the poles ready across the project. That means replacing utility poles, moving the lines on the poles, whether it's electricity or cable or telephone. So a lot of stuff happening. We're getting these updates about once every 2 weeks. So this was like the first 2 weeks of April plan. I'm expecting that tomorrow we'll see what here's our plan for the next 2 weeks. We're continually iterating on what's available for us to go and operate on and where we can build. It's not as simple as go from road A all the way from the very beginning to the very end because of all these limitations on make ready. At the very bottom, I have an asterisk that says there's a question about roads town-owned and highway by user or highway by use roads and right of way. We brought this up briefly last week. For Sheldon and Orion and Watros, these are highway by use roads where over the last really 2 to 4 weeks, we're coming to understanding that for these highway by use roads, or they want to go underground because of one of the really two reasons. Either all the other utilities are underground in that neighborhood, or the utility poles are too far apart for us to bring strand and fiber from pole to pole. We'll go underground instead. For the highway by use roads, we'll need to get an easement and have it signed and notarized from the landowner for us to use the right of way in front of between their property and the road to bring the network in. For example, on Waterhouse Road, it's 4 parcels. We will be right next to the road, on the shoulder of the road, but that is a highway by use road, which means you have to have sign off an easement that becomes part of the deed for that property. Forever. It says we have our network there. It works the same way as the other easements on those properties for NYSEG or other utilities like Charter Spectrum. We're estimating between the two towns are about 190 to 200 of these parcels that will cross on Palo County roads. So we're working through that, prioritizing, and then we'll be beginning the outreach as soon as we have a really firm list of where we have to start this work. Hopefully sometime next week or the week after. This is a lot of work. We're estimating it's about 2 hours per easement. And if it's 200 easements, that would be about 400 hours. If they only do this for 40 hours a week, that would be 10 weeks of work. That's more work than I can add to my queue or that Connor can add to everything he's doing in the project. So we've put together a description of the tasks that would be performed. It's a subcontractor. We would hire a subcontractor and do the work. Like we've hired other subcontractors like Clarity Connect to do work for us for installations. This would just be a subcontractor paid on 1099 to do just specific work to getting these easements, helping produce the documents, tracking down the homeowners, explaining the project, getting them signed and notarized.
What was the estimate again? Hours per easement?
2 hours per easement. We're
200.
We said about 200 that we need to do from now going forward to get construction complete. It's kind of a moving target. Some of the projects, some of the houses that we thought we had the easements for, we through initial analysis said we don't need to go underground on those properties. It's not a pathway that we need to follow, but there still are about 200.
And that role will really be a public record role. So
yeah, it's administrators, it's understanding surveys, it's definitely PR, as well as getting them to say yes and sign off. And,
right.
Yeah.
Don't trust it. Whatever it is.
That's right.
It'd be an important part.
It's a lot of stuff that's involved with getting each of these done. Yeah. So we have a candidate. We met with them yesterday for a couple hours to just plan the logistics of how this would work and the strategies behind this. Amanda and I know this person, and I talked about what the contract would look like. We have a draft of an agreement with them. We'll bring it to the town board next month with both the candidate for this work as well as the job description. Although it's not maybe, but probably not, because we're paying them by the hour, and if we can avoid excess hours, that would be great. They will work in town hall from time to time. Preparing all these documents and doing all the outreach could be done remotely. They are based on topics coming. Now, I want to cover one more slide, which is the major issues that are continuing to bog down the schedule. So as we've shared, this year, we are working to build 147 miles of fiber optic network between the town of Dryden and the town of Caroline. It's about 90 miles in Caroline and about 57 miles in the town of Dryden. Those 147 miles are funded by New York State. We only receive the money after we've completed milestones to that completion. And the total amount that we would get reimbursed if we completed everything is $11.6 million. Of that, approximately $4 million would come to the town of Dryden, and the remainder would go to the town of Caroline. The questions come up like why we're working on Caroline and Dryden at the same time. We haven't finished Dryden. And the reality is we would not have received this $4 million of state aid grant money for Dryden if we had not partnered with Caroline. And both the Dryden component and the Caroline component had to be finished for us to acquire the final payment, the fourth payment. It's a substantial amount of work left to do to finish this year. There's not any other way to say it. The weather has slowed us down. The cost of goods has slowed us down, not just in the cost of the goods, but actually enough goods of available material for us to use to build. As well as part of some of the permitting from New York State has been a much bigger challenge for us to tackle than we had planned. So because of that, we did go to New York State and ask them for an extension. They said there is no extension. This is federal money. It has to be completely spent, and you have to complete the work you agreed to spend in the grant agreement by the end of the year. So they did say there is available some level of money to help speed up our project to reach the finish line on time. So we're developing a revised budget where we ask for a little bit more. We know there are some of our subcontractors that can bring in more resources if they have more money from us to get the job done faster. We also know that some of the costs of the project have gone up substantially since we originally set the budget in motion first in April of 2024. That's a long time ago, and as far as technology and budgets go, 2 full years. In addition, there are some parts of the engineering budget that just are much more expensive now than they were, and we need to close that gap. So we're putting together a revised budget to share with New York State. We'll share the plan next week in the revised budget the week after, and ask them for additional funding to help us make this happen. That will include some of the fees for the easements. We did not budget hiring someone to do 200 easements, and a substantial amount of those easements are going to be in MIP territory. So ideally, we provide the budget request and they say, yeah, but they still have money for this project statewide that they have to spend by the end of the year. Spending it with us is going to help us get our project finished in full versus leaving more money on the table that doesn't get used. So we want to make sure that money is used and we can get this done. A vast majority of that money stays with labor contractors here in Central New York, whether it's Syracuse Utilities, H. Richardson & Son, Clarity Connect, our own team, people who live and work in Tompkins County or in Central New York. So this money is directly paying for the most part, payroll. By the most part, about 72% of it is labor, about 28% is materials. And this slide has some of the detail about what the issues are and what our responses will do. This is as of 4/3. I went over this with the state this afternoon, updating quite a bit of this as we're working on solving these problems that are slowing us down. That way we can finish the New York State part of the project on time. And finally, we have a twice a month Dryden Public Broadband Committee meeting. It's typically the first and third Friday of the month, which would be tomorrow. Due to the enormous push we're making on this part of the budget with the state, we've canceled tomorrow morning's broadband committee meeting. The next one will be on Friday, May 1st. That will be a discussion meeting and an update on the overall project. The recording meeting for the month of April, and then in April that you'll see in this report for the month of April business will be shared with the broadband committee on Friday, May 15th. There's some discussion about having twice a month broadband committee meetings during construction on not in the year. It's an extra part of the project to have 2 of those meetings to be able to put those together. It would be a bit of a bonus, not just for the 2 hours of the meeting, but for the 4 to 6 hours of preparation for those meetings to not have those twice a month. As soon as the town board can take it up and review the charter of the broadband committee and make a discussion. But that's a request. It would just give us more time to focus on all the things happening with managing in construction.
Are you saying the resolution requires 2 meetings a month?
The last time we talked about it, the supervisor's going to look to see
Yeah,
if there was a resolution that specified the month meetings.
yeah, because I don't remember specifying, but I saw I have to look.
When I started, it was every other week. We reduced it to twice a month, which made it a little bit easier to know it was always going to be first and third. Otherwise, you had like Friday holidays, especially in November, December. So it's an open request from me as executive director of the project to move that to once a month if the board so would see that.
None of our other reports.
Great. There's one resolution for acquisition of tracer wire. So we put our fiber into plastic conduit underground. We don't do those two steps at the same time. The first thing we do is bury the typical orange conduit underground, somewhere between 36 and 48 inches. We need to know where it is. So as they install the orange plastic 1.25 inch pairs of conduit, they put in tracer wire into these tubes so that they can use a device and find out where it is underground with their detectors. So the request is about $46,000 for tracer wire across all, I think, 5 regions of the project: Frueville, non-MIP, Freeville, MIP, Dryden, MIP, Dryden, non-MIP, and Caroline. I think there's a resolution in the packet. Yes.
Yeah, so I'll move this.
Second.
Yes.
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 Thank you. Any other questions, thoughts, Marat?
No, we just have the 2 other ones. One's for the cost increase for the materials. That's the ones up on the screen. Some of this resolution as well.
Dave, these are resolutions that Matt asked me to add today.
Yeah, I saw those in the email. I didn't know they were out here. Good.
Yeah. I wrote it.
I second.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Another material purchase.
So these are all labeled as anchors. We have switched our project from going from 6M to 10M strand, which is a bigger piece of strand that goes between the utility poles. And it's a recommendation from Vantage. It's what they use all over the country on projects for areas where there's wind and heavy rain, ice storms. The 10M strand is much stronger and will be able to withstand. These are going to be up there for 30, 40, or even 50 or more years. So they recommend the 10M strand. It's great. It costs a bit more, but it's a lot more sturdy. However, the connection to the pole requires different hardware, and the connection to the ground, the anchors that screw into the ground, are also different than they are for the 6M strand. So this is a budget request for the anchors for this 10M strand.
So I'll move this.
Second.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Anything else, Cassie?
So
No.
that was it. Thank you, guys.
She's up there somewhere.
Yeah,
Here.
it's like that movie. It's a genius.
Yeah.
That's right. Pete, did you have anything you wanted to? Yeah, sure. Yeah, why don't you come on up? No, no need to apologize. Hi.
Just wanted to give you, 2 dates. Year so far,
Who initiates the system?
Yeah. And it's a service, it's
And you put them.
Were there any takeaways from that after action that you feel or were sharing? Yeah.
Was Neptune first there or? Yeah.
that's another.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not. Right. I have a question on the house, right?
So did state fire automatically investigate or did you had to request that? Yeah. And McLean, I would imagine. Technically, I mean, McLean fire is pretty close to. Yeah.
Yeah.
The ladder would be there.
Did you got all the water?
Yeah.
So with the investigation revealed, it's, yeah, you know, like gas. Or something, but, um,
Yeah, I appreciate it. You talk with me just pretty much there, usually there too. It seemed like what you were describing, that some positive was just engulfed.
There.
Mm.
On a different note.
Give you a recruitment this weekend, right? Yeah.
That's going on all over the state. That's good.
Thank you. Good thinking.
Good to hear. You like that?
Thank you. Well, thanks. Yep. Okay, so I guess we'll just run through the advisory board updates. That one. We'll have, I'm no really update. No. Okay. There was no action. And then we're coming, there was a discussion. Changing. What's that? The discussion was this one, so that's. Well, the threat was official. Yeah. So that was, this month maybe. Oh, yes. We have talking about the conservation proposal. Well, that's going to be, coming back and draft to the committee. And it's going to follow the first thing to do. Thank you.
Conservation Board, so we talked quite a bit about stuff already, but I'll share that Crystal Buck with 4-H Acres came and spoke asking for a letter of support. They're applying for a grant to purchase a large parcel of land on the northwest corner of Route 13 and Lower Creek Road that they've been using for 8 decades for training and education purposes. It includes a UNA. She needed it before tonight. So the Conservation Board chair submitted that for her. So it's a wonderful activity and it's really lovely to hear that. Any relation? No, not to my knowledge. Okay.
For climate action, we did not have a meeting since our last meeting because we have it next Tuesday. Just a reminder though that we have the second repair cafe this Saturday from 10 to 1 p.m. at the new Dryden Center for Community. And we already have 11 to 12 fixers lined up. Also, I had the Veterans Committee. I'd like to add that to the monthly report. So we had our first meeting Tuesday. We had 1 resignation because the gentleman moved out of town. So we still have 3 members, 2 are veterans, 1's a community member. We picked our chair. We made a list of about a dozen ideas that we want to work on. So our next meeting, we'll figure out which order to do those in. And we're going to have our meetings the second Tuesdays of each month at 5 p.m. 5 p.m.
So which one you went to the planning board?
You do.
That was good, Zach.
When I did.
Exactly.
But it was me.
Yeah.
We talked about the Trillium Woods Park.
That was it.
And that's that.
I think we can keep going.
And then the Zach was focused on conservation subdivision rewrite. Circulating, fine tuning it.
We prepped for that too.
I managed to add identification of UNAs that haven't been labeled for us. Required identification of UNAs. I felt like my presence.
And then Ag Committee, we talked about Trillium Woods. The ones are ends. And then DRYC, so there's actually they're holding an event at the Community Cafe Sunday at 1 o'clock. And
Is it the cafe or the community center?
in the Center for Community, yeah, I don't know why they got put it. It shows up on the calendar. It's Community Cafe. But you know, it's at the, yeah, so it's this Sunday. And then, we just appointed the new member, and we had the new member we appointed the previous month at the last meeting. Since the county, I think, is gonna start their budget process soon, the youth commission's already started. The county will contribute to it. So. I'm already get. That the budget cycles coming up actually pretty quick. Yeah.
Rail trail, don't want to miss that. I'm sure everyone has noticed the construction. It's quite amazing to see. You know, after all the talk, to actually see equipment out there. And it seems to be going without a hitch. The only problem has been, that I know of is production. Late people going back to see what's going on. It's a danger. So we get a customer last week. Last people. It actually got picked up by the news sources, which was glad to see. That's just moving along. I think I did mention we got an application in for an investment directive. We used to call it earmarks. We go back and forth with some of the offices there. After I have good news. You're awesome.
And then. The only other thing I had was, it's thinking that everybody wants to split that we wanted us to appoint the interim clerk effective May 1st. So move that we appoint interim clerk effective May 1st. So town clerk, yeah, one was town clerk. You know, then the office is going to be up for on the November ballot to he'll be appointed as town clerk to fill out the year and receiver of taxes too.
So the motion is that we do that effective May 1st.
Yeah.
And you prefer that we can do that now?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was talking to Steve about that.
Yeah.
But we can take a motion now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes sense. So I second. Get ready. All right, so you move that on after the second.
Do we need to do anything with the second? With Alice moving it?
Yeah.
Got it,
That's
okay,
his first job.
yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yes. Then,
It just feels like it's more real that you're leaving now.
yeah, I know.
Then I'm going.
They're asleep. And
I
then,
do want to share from the other is that the mobile health units that I talked about previously are going to happen on May 20th and May 29th. Got confirmation. Probably some local news about that. I know they reached out to the Family Health Network. Reached out to me and joined Community Center. So this is kind of a big deal to have this mobile health van coming here. And, starting a relationship with Family Health Network in Dryden. I think I mentioned this previously, but you don't have to be from Dryden to use these healthcare facilities. You don't even have to have health insurance. They turn you away. And the whole mission of an FQHC is to reduce barriers to healthcare. So if there's a language barrier, they find a need to it's a transportation barrier. They find, in this case, bring the van here.
Do they have to have appointments or is it,
That
walk-in?
I'm waiting to hear final. They're gonna do a press release and a brochure on that. I would imagine they would like to get as many appointments up front as possible. They have a portal for that. I just don't know if that's active yet. So
And it is open to everyone.
it's open to everybody. You know, and if people from Ithaca can come up here. We're from Virgin, you can go from. Good help. You don't turn anyone away.
Right.
It's a whole different healthcare model. And you're probably wondering, well, how do they do this? They get incentives from the federal government. So they get a bump up in Medicaid reimbursements. So if a Medicaid patient goes to FQHC, the FQHC gets a higher reimbursement from the Medicaid patient at some fellows.
Do they,
And the doctors get insurance through the federal government. So the doctors don't take care of with, medical malpractice insurance. So that's a big asset for the doctors. So we're asking, things that FQHC operate that allow them to reach harder than patients.
It's
That's
from the family, it's from the family.
Family Health Network.
No, yeah.
And they have a number of clinics, just 6 miles from here, and well, I should say throughout the Portland area that they like working with them. You just drive up there. My son used to go there. It's no big deal. They from McLean to their Portland clinics.
that's great news.
Yeah.
So, and I think I mentioned, well, they will be at the Dairy Day Parade and we'll be getting to know the community then. So,
But the first time the van will be here, it's May 20th.
In the parking lot of the Princess Center.
yeah. And the center will be open too if people need to use, the restroom or something like that. Center's just kind of amazing. They coincidentally, concurrently, we both reached out to several different folks, the town of Dryden for me and in Dryden community. So for me, that's kind of good.
Yeah, it's very good.
I just want to make sure that nobody will be turned away.
They would use their credibility. I've been working for an FQHC on the board for 11 years, and that's one of our mantras.
I will ask the question in another way, but
Nobody,
nothing.
no, unless they're rude and disruptive.
No, yeah.
But no, that's the whole goal, is to make it more accessible.
Mhm.
A sliding fee scale is a way that they get people with low income, to come in.
That's all.
Very good.
Was there really long?
Do we do citizen?
Yeah. Oh, Danny, do you need a minute? We can do the citizens privilege part first. Okay, yeah. You always come up. Of course we do. Yeah, if you need, that's what I said, but if you need a minute, we can just do the other thing. But just make sure that mic's on, somebody on the Zoom said they couldn't hear. Yeah.
Now, there you go. Hi. So the Tompkins County Legislature, we've supported several efforts taken several resolutions to support various efforts at the state. Childcare support, supporting the environment and energy, the Good Food Bill, taking feedback pension. Passed a resolution to proclaiming April 9th as local news day. Because we all know that local news is not what it used to be, and it's important, very important. The county is exploring a comprehensive paid caregiver leave policy, which of course is internal for us, but it's being looked at. We will not be renewing, the county will not be renewing our contract with Flock. I don't suppose that's big news. Sheriff Osborne recognizes the value that the data it has provides, but we've heard an awful lot. The flip side of that is we at the county legislature acknowledge that the population segment that is for this, almost by nature, are not going to be speaking up. So it was a decision that we needed to make, but we're looking at ways to serve that population differently.
And Sheriff Osborne is looking for ways to apply for the GIVE grant with other mechanisms that don't require that particular technology. So that's what he's working on now. We have before us the county emergency management plan. So we're looking at that. Hope to approve that at the next meeting. The county is studying a minimum wage that would be presumably affected at the county level. The kickoff for that was a couple of weeks ago. I was there. Couldn't stay for all of it because I had a conflict, but we probably had about 40 people in the room, and I felt it was very well represented by the rural community, by the business community, by some associations. We had several government officials there from various levels. So they have a series of data gathering meetings planned over the next several weeks or couple months. So they're collecting data for us, and they were reminded everybody that this was not a living wage study; it was a minimum wage study. So hopefully that's what everybody's under the understanding of with the collecting data at this point.
Question about that.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
County appropriated money to this.
Okay.
And this is now a consultant-led study that's underway. So this is study is. When's the particular completion of this? I thought it was for a little while. When did that study?
I would have to look at the calendar. It's definitely this year.
This year.
Yeah, I'm going to guess. Don't hold me to this. Like August, September, October timeframe. I'm guessing. Okay.
We decided that the outcome was, it's just so that we our minimum wage.
Yeah.
That would have to be approved by the state. Right? But we have home rule that.
I am not sure. If it comes to that, we've got a lot of work as a legislature to get to that point, because the legislature is going to have to talk heavily about that.
Okay.
Have to discuss that in detail. So I don't know the answer to your question. Certainly the implications for, that we would have to consider from the state, as you mentioned. And I don't know the answer. And I would think that our neighboring counties would be very interested. Right? Cortland's going to have a say, or not a say. Cortland is going to be affected by this. Tioga is going to be affected by this. Cayuga is going to be affected by this. Seneca is going to be affected by this. Schuyler, everybody that's adjacent to our borders will be affected by this.
So this consultant that's been hired, do you know who?
The guy's name is Ian Greer. It's got some kind of connection with Cornell. I can look it up. I mean, it's easy enough to find on the web. You just look for Tompkins minimum wage study. It'll come up. I can find. I'll tell you what. I'll take an action to get it to you. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the efforts of, I know they started as a living wage thing years ago. Yeah.
And to clarify, I don't think, I mean, it could be that it's suggested that it be that number. It's frankly, none of us expect it to be.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
But this would mean every employer in the county. There would probably be some exemptions, but almost every employer in the county would.
This is one of the things that the county is going to have to look at. But the study will better look at, but I can guarantee you the legislature is going to debate it. Does it affect every employer? What are the exceptions? There's some types of jobs that are excluded. What does that mean for wage compression? What does it mean? There's a whole ton of stuff that goes wrapped into this, right? So yeah, it's enormous, and I'll speak up and say that the legislature's got to consider this very carefully. So yeah. But yeah, so the wage study is kicked off. We also had a kickoff for the draft and the proposal for the temporary housing assistance building, which is just in the initial phases. And of course, we're going to have to apply for grants for that and several other things. This is very new. But that building, as it's proposed at this point, would go down on Cherry Street. So, you know, and somebody was asking about the price on that. It's like, well, but you know how much we're spending annually for housing, right? I mean, it wouldn't take that many years for this to pay for itself. So, this morning we had an inventory of bridges at the Facilities and Infrastructure Committee. There's bridge work in various places in the county. We did appoint a chief equity and diversity officer, Leon Holden. I don't know him well, but to the several minutes that I've had to interact with him, I really like him. So, and I don't think this is news to anybody, but the Dryden Family Medicine Community Medical Associates in the village is closing. So, and I just came from TC3 where Family Health Associates in Portland presented. They have a mobile unit that they are. We just discussed that. Okay. So anyway, that's around. They're afoot. And I happen to know because of my relationship to somebody on that board that the Dryden Community Center is also interested in talking with them, and that board is excited about that opportunity. Again, nothing's set there yet, but that's an opportunity they're looking at. That's the short list. What do you got for me?
I don't have anything. Anybody else? That's good. Great. Awesome, thank you.
You don't want to tell them that the local health units will be here on May 20th and 29th?
What's gonna be here, May 20th?
Dan got them all.
Yeah.
20th and 20th.
Oh, wait, that's more than a week apart. That's like a Monday and a Wednesday. So.
Can't do it on the same day.
Don't do it on the same.
Some people work all day on Monday. I know. I know.
All right. No, we're good. Thanks. Thank you. And then we got citizens privilege up. If there's anybody who want to, anything you want to address the boards with, whether they're Zoom land or here. And for the dog, it's an auction. So if you want. Welcome, place. All right. So, that's all we got. So we're not gonna end the meeting until it gets banned.
Yeah, it's gonna keep it running.
And we do have a new speech.
You want to say goodbye to us?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, nice.
That's it. Yeah.
Have to figure out ways to bring it in. Controversial.
Yeah. It's gonna be weird because every single day I've been on. Well, yeah, but we're gonna lose.
No, actually, political reactions. Have you ever had any fun? Have you ever had any fun?
Hear any announcement at all? We're really hard to hear you.
Well, we're working on a new system.
So next Tuesday, did you see Elton?
I was gonna log back in.
Yeah, I mean, I just turned it back on. I mean, if you,
Always have to.
I think it's already recording, so.
All right.
Okay. Thank you for the side of the confusion.
First of all, I just wanted to say a little bit about Bambi service. I do like the fireworks, so I haven't had a lot of interaction, but I will say, generally speaking, like experience with town clerks and county clerks has never been positive. I think I consider clerks to be the continuum of their committees. So, Bambi, your tenure here is pretty impressive. So, thank you for your service. I'm here really. I just want to touch on a couple of things really briefly. I recently joined the Dryden Fire Department as a fledgling volunteer, as Christina knows. And so I've been learning a lot. I've been just taking it in like a sponge. And excuse me, sorry. I was really impacted or saddened about these recent fatal fires that occurred in Dryden and Groton. And so it really kind of got me thinking even more about fire and fire prevention. And I'm learning it from firsthand from this amazing group of people. And I saw Chief Tyler here earlier. Just a really marvelous group. And the recent fire in Groton occurred at a mobile home, which to me is an anachronistic term. Mobile homes haven't been around since the mid-70s, so they manufacture homes. But anyway, so concerns about their safety, their construction. As an architect, I think about that stuff. And I've been involved with a working group for the past 3.5 years, going on 4. And we're working hard at it. And been involved with resident-owned communities and energy improvements, safety, everything. So it struck a chord when I read the Groton story while I was out at Etna, at the training station center. So just wanted to bring up a couple of things for the town and as well for the county, Dan and Greg and so forth. So from this article I read in the Tompkins Weekly, I'll read this with you. It's a great article. It has just a ton of information. So look through that. But there are 2 highlights for me that I think are important takeaways. And I'm curious if the town and the county are involved with these types of programs. It mentions in here that counties like Suffolk and Ulster, which I'm very familiar with, have begun writing community wildfire protection plans. And wildfires was one of the classes recently about how that works. These brave men and women strapping on these very heavy water packs and going out there and spraying because water doesn't reach there. So that's a question for Tompkins County, I think, about whether they've considered writing a community wildfire protection plan. And maybe on the town level too. I don't know I'm not too familiar with what's been happening in the town related to fire protection. But they are. This person that's been quoted here is saying workers who are interested in starting a Firewise community should contact the DEC. They have a program with their liaison, Captain Scott Jackson, can be contacted for that. And I sent him an email today just saying, hey, maybe Dryden or something is a place where you can come and talk and present, because a lot of this prevention starts at the home, around the home, in the home. Anyway, I'm just very aware of this now, and I'm learning a lot. So I wanted to just bring that to our attention. So there's also the Community Wildlife Protection Plan. There's some great links here. So these are just a couple of very short articles that I'll leave with you. And the final one is for protecting farms from grass fires. Just a very short article, and that came from one of our mobile manufactured home members who lives in a manufactured home and is Holly Hutchinson. Maybe you know her. So that's and then I just had one more question. I haven't heard anything, and I haven't been following it, so it's maybe my fault. About where things are with the Dryden Lake Dam, and the negotiations, or trying to figure out a way to repair it that's feasible with the DEC. So I'm just wondering, has the town been publicizing that? Is there a place where people can go to see where that stands? If there's progress being made, because I'd certainly like to know about that. I think it's an asset for the town, and it'd be a shame if just my opinion. But I'm curious about that.
Yeah. So the Dryden Lake Dam belongs to an agreement, either agreement, DEC, who knows very well that they have the responsibility to sign this agreement to maintain the integrity of the country. It's not the Dryden that's responsible. Because taxes paid to the town of Dryden, taxes paid to New York State. Yeah, New York State needs to come here and convince them. That's our position. We don't want to own the dam. There is us. So we have petitioned state one way to do this. We contact our state business headquarters, checking with the senator staff, senator just like days like really about all of the states. And it's not our dam. If we were to take on the responsibility, we on the $1 million. But it is something I think it's ecological, wildlife, recreational aspects of we haven't done that.
No, I didn't assume that.
I didn't need to run this.
Do you think it would be help a lot if any residents contacted, certain state officials or agencies and just want to spread the word, and then maybe more people who chime in. Just regular folk might make an impact.
Yeah. It's on prayer screen, but
the state reps are the ones to contact more than trying to contact the DEC people directly. Because the state reps have to appropriate the money essentially in this one.
yeah, the DEC funds, they only have about $8 million in the dam. We have a budget for the entire state.
That sounds.
For $3 million left here.
And
Our mission is far more. Because you signed this contract.
Yeah.
It's established. It's integrity. It's integrity of the.
Well, we'll plug them along from our various positions in town and in the county to help them make the right decision.
Can I make a comment about your earlier? So I just want to thank you for bringing all that information about the research you've been doing on fire prevention. There's going to be upcoming discussions in the town as we've been really trying to identify, do we maintain having separate fire companies? Should we form a fire district that would have its own fire commission? These are conversations that are going to be happening this year. And what you shared really struck me as something to really think about when we talk about being able to expand our resources by having a fire commission. That may be something they could help. There'd be experts that could help bring that kind of activity forward. So I just want to share that because I keep that stuff handy. I think it may be important things to talk about as we go through this year's activities.
Yeah, and I know a lot of these folks in the state and local, you know, the trainers and stuff, they're very willing and able and eager to come and meet and explain things. And, you know, stuff on here about, you know, burn bans that last only 2 weeks in the spring, that doesn't do the job. It's just, it's you know, the threat is now spread out over a lot more of the year with, you know, climate change and so forth. So it's becoming we started having in the Quebec fires from 2023, was it? You know, just making up the red skies, and they didn't stop being red all day. So it's an issue. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Can I have those?
I'm leaving this with you. Yeah.
Great.